We start with this developing story out of our nation's capital. For those of you who've been calling the Washington football team for the past few days, weeks, months, even years, that practice is going to pay off. The franchise in our nation's capital has a new placeholder name of the Washington football team as they continue the process of finding a new name, and that also goes for their uniforms. The social media account retweeting several of their players today. If you'll notice there, the logo on the side of the helmet appears to have been replaced by numbers on Ryan Kerrigan's uniform there, and where the nickname previously was above the numbers on the jersey has been replaced by the words Washington. Let's discuss this process now with NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, as well as NFL Network's Mike Garafolo. Ian, you first. How did this plan play out, and how long are they going to go with these uniforms and this name?
Well, as far as calling it the Washington football team, which you're right, basically that's what everyone's been calling it anyway, since they announced that they were officially doing away with them retiring the Redskins name, that is going to continue until they find a new name, Mike. And it is pretty clear now they would have liked to have this done by the start of the season. In this release that just came out a couple minutes ago, they mentioned that they will be called the Washington football team through this season. So certainly that is something that does not sound like it's going to be wrapped up anytime soon. And there are some names that they would like to be called, some of their potential choices that are still involved in litigation, still being discussed as far as trademarks, so they cannot get a new name yet. Perhaps that is why they will call themselves what everyone was calling them anyway. But the other part of this is, as they mentioned in this release, there is an aesthetic part of this. They're officially getting rid of all the Redskins name and mentions on basically every facility. They did it with the uniforms. It has been retired, and they are now making sure that it is not seen or heard from anytime soon.
2 mentions of the R word, Ian. That's $2 in the jar. We've got to figure out a way that we can just not say it by accident going forward, because it's gone and it is going to be wiped clean from everything by the start of the season. You're right. And these uniforms that you're seeing in the release here with several key players who tweeted it out themselves, these are uniforms that you might see beyond 2020. They could actually stay as they are right now. The team is going to basically ride with them and see how they look on the field and see how the fans feel about them, and maybe there'll be some minor tweaks, but they like the color scheme. They felt like that was a connection to the past without using the R word. I am not donating to the jar today, Patrick. We'll see. I mean, seems like some fans that I know that are longtime Washington football team fans like the look of these right here, just by the responses I'm seeing on Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, that old handle, you can't even click on it. It doesn't even exist. It's now at Washington NFL for the Washington football team. So go check that out on Twitter. That just happened within the last couple of minutes.